It's the push for more electric vehicles. Now some parts of the auto industry are changing and advancing to keep up with the influx of electric cars coming in. The electric vehicle industry is the big story today. In fact, the Biden administration is all in on making sweeping changes to the auto industry. That includes handing out $1.7 billion to support electric vehicles in America. That funding, which comes from the Inflation Reduction Act, will help convert closed down or at-risk auto manufacturing and assembly plants to make electric and hybrid vehicles. The awardees include major automakers like GM and Volvo, as well as some suppliers like American Auto Parts. Today, the U.S. Department of Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm stopped in Toledo. She's traveling across the country touting the Investing in America agenda, which boils down to investing money into private companies to keep manufacturing jobs here in the U.S.
Saying that Toledo is positioning itself for the future, leaning into the electric vehicle future. And it's got two components. I mean, one is to redo, essentially, retool a chassis facility for electric vehicles, but the other is also to help build batteries for the electric vehicles. So two components, 575 jobs created or retained, and that's pretty exciting.
The Biden administration says these projects will create 2,900 new jobs and save 15,000 additional jobs that may have been eliminated. Now, a big piece of the puzzle is Ohio and the auto industry. Right now, changes are happening at both of Toledo's auto plants, and other suppliers are expanding. I-Team reporter Sean Hegarty explains what's happening right here in the Glass City and what it really means for the auto industry jobs. Sean?
Yeah, Tina, we saw the announcement today of the federal government's investment in the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle parts here in Toledo. Some of them are going to the Jeep Wrangler. Others eventually will be going to the Gladiator. And that was what was announced here today. The $33 million in federal funding will be helping Mobis, which is set up here at the old Northtown Mall site on Alexis Road in Toledo. They'll be creating the casings to batteries going into those Jeep plug-in hybrids, and that move is expected to retain or create hundreds of jobs for UAW members here in the region. Now, our region has made some small inroads into the battery production game. This is not a full battery production facility, but it's a start. Toledo, well known for its workforce, so an investment by both Mobis and the feds are a good sign that Toledo can be part of an EV world. And what does it say to the workforce that there's an EV investment in Toledo?
I think it says a lot because it's telling them that the company wants to do business with us, with our workforce.
Will Toledo ever get a full battery production facility? We will see, but at least this is a start here of those casings at what is now called the Toledo Trade Center. This is, you may have shopped here as a child at the old Northtown Mall, but it's a start and there is still plenty of room to grow on this piece of facility and potentially others around the city. Tina?
All right, thanks, Sean. From there, the funding comes at a time when less people appear to be buying electric vehicles. According to a recent AAA study about EV sales, only 18% of U.S. adults say they're very likely or likely to buy an EV as their next car. Experts say it's surprising because more companies are making EVs, and that means consumers have more options.
A bit shocking. We were really expecting that to be kind of a tipping point for it, and that the interest and demand would start to increase. But we've definitely seen the opposite.
Now, according to that survey, the biggest issues for consumers are the high purchase price, the high cost of a battery repair, a lack of convenient charging stations, and not being able to install a charging station where they actually live. Now, when it comes to price, electric cars vary drastically from just under $30,000 to well over $100,000. That's according to a U.S. News and World Report. However, there are some things that are going to help lower those high costs. If you do choose to buy an electric vehicle, there are some tax benefits. You can get a credit of $7,500 if you purchase a new EV or a plug-in hybrid, and a $4,000 credit for a used one. Some experts in the EV industry say they're optimistic that the lag in sales will change.
I think you're going to see new sales continue to tick back up. But right now, with interest rates and just the high cost of a new car, it's not surprising to me that people are opting for a used car at a better price point.
According to a 2018 study by the University of Michigan's Transportation Research Institute, electric vehicles also cost less than half as much to operate as gasoline-powered counterparts. The average cost to operate an EV, about $485 per year, while the average for a gas-powered car is more than $1,100 a year. Now, there's another survey out there that was done in 2023. It's from the AP Nork Center, and 80% of people cited that they were concerned about the lack of charging stations. We've heard a lot about this recently, and they say that's their #1 reason to not buy an EV. 7 in 10 respondents added they would not buy one because it takes too long to charge and the battery technology isn't ready. In January of this year, President Biden awarded $623 million in grants to states, local governments, and tribes to fund more EV charging stations. But is it actually enough? The Department of Energy's National Renewable Energy Laboratory estimated last year that the U.S. will need 1.2 million public chargers by the year 2030. That's a huge jump from the 175,000 public charging ports that are available right now. And here in Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine's been doubling down on this concern from EV drivers, making the first moves to bring more chargers across the Buckeye State. In July of last year, Governor DeWine announced the first 27 locations for new EV charging stations, and those would be along Ohio interstates. That money comes from the National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program. It'll help accommodate those drivers when they're traveling. Then in May, a second round of funding was announced, adding 22 additional charging stations across the state of Ohio. The end goal here is to have fast chargers every 50 miles across Ohio. Plus, each location will be no more than a mile from a freeway and include 4 separate charging ports. Meanwhile, in Michigan, the governor has encouraged families to switch to EVs, but people who live in apartments, condos, or those without a garage often facing an issue of where they'll actually charge it. Consumers Energy actively working on a solution for that specific problem right now. The company says it plans to power more than 1,500 new fast charging locations by the year 2031. Consumers want those public charging locations with 4 or more fast chargers to be built over the next 6 years. Any business or location hoping to host one of them could earn up to $70,000 in tax rebates. And this is only the beginning of the electric vehicle push. We are sure to see more changes as that technology advances. And here at 13 Action News, we're staying on top of it, both on air and online. In fact, you can stay up to date by downloading the 13 Action News app. It's available as a free download in your phone's app store.